You're watching News 24 Live. A 25.3% tariff hike that Eskom has applied for to cover costs incurred during the current power crisis will potentially have dire consequences on the consumer. To discuss this matter further, we are joined over Skype by debt expert and the CEO of Debt Rescue, Neil Roets. Good morning, Neil. Thanks very much for joining us. First of all, NERSA, the National Energy Regulator, who is currently sitting with this application, what is standing in the way of it being approved, and when can we expect it to be approved if it is approved?
Well, obviously we cannot really comment on that as we're not economists, but what we can say is that if it does get approved, then it's going to be disastrous for consumers, as consumers are already over indebted, and almost half of all credit active consumers, in fact, are over indebted, meaning that they are in arrears with at least 3 payments on one of their accounts. So this tariff hike would be devastating. Also because of the fact that it's not only going to affect them directly, but also indirectly. If electricity prices goes up, then it means that the prices of other goods and services will also go up in line with it. And consumers that we see on a daily basis would just not be able to afford that.
Neil, this 25.3% hike, what exactly is it made up of? What is the breakdown of that? I mean, what costs are Eskom hoping to cover with that figure?
Like I said, unfortunately, I cannot comment on that. We're not economists. We deal with the consumers and how this price hike will affect consumers. And, like I said, it will be devastating consumers, as, the current total debt of consumers currently are standing at almost 1.5 trillion rand. And 75% of the income of consumers, the average consumer, is spent on creditors, and therefore we feel that this increase will obviously not be affordable to the consumers.
So now, if this hike goes ahead, Eskom have also said that they would apply for additional single-digit hikes over the next 2 financial years. Now, what would be the knock-on effects of that?
Well, the effect would just make matters, is that it will make matters worse, because there's no breathing space for consumers out there. And like I said, a lot of consumers find themselves on the knife's edge and almost becoming over indebted, and all these price hikes adds up. Although it's single figure hikes, it will all add up, and at the end of the day cause a lot of consumers to become over indebted. We've got the fastest middle class or growing middle class in the world, and which is a good thing. But with all these price increases, together with the price increase of petrol and so on, for instance, will this just push people back into poverty out of the middle class?